Good afternoon, committee. And to the people of Guam, we have returned from recess. The committee is back on order. I'd like to have the Sergeant Arm first swear in. We have new folks coming on board. Do we have DOE, Joe? Where's DOE? And
negative, sir. We're waiting for them to log in at this time.
all right, then we'll wait for them to come on board.
You can take care of housekeeping.
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, we have a motion by Senator Lee.
Half a day, Mr. Chair. Yes, I just, was feeling a little bit frustrated with our back and forth conversations earlier this morning. And so I reached out to legal to try to figure out a way that we might have a more productive session going forward. And so I just wanted to, at this time, offer up a motion for discussion. Mr. Chair, notwithstanding the House rules, I move that the Committee on General Government Operations, Appropriations, and Housing be authorized to conduct a formal markup of Bill 282-35 LS as substituted during this committee meeting, and that the committee proceed with such markup using as guidance the standard operating procedures established by the Committee on Rules for Virtual Public Hearings per Section 20.2 of the Standing Rules. And then I have a subsequent motion as well, and this might help to inform the initial one. Mr. Chair, I move to allow all members during this committee meeting to proffer amendments to Bill 282-35 LS as substituted for the committee's consideration, provided that prior to any amendment being entertained, it must, 1, be submitted to the committee electronically, and 2, have a minimum of 6 co-sponsors. I say that, Mr. Chair, just again in an effort to try to be as transparent to the public as possible, but also just to give us a little bit more productivity in our sessions and allow us to make changes. These amendments will also need to be adopted on the floor, so it'll be substitute Bill 282-35 LS as further substituted on the floor. So I just make that motion, and if there's a second, we can discuss it.
All right. Senator Kelly?
I second that, Joe.
All right. Thank you, Senator Tulay.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, we have Senator Kelly and Senator Shelton. Okay. Senator, hold on, Senator Tello. This is a committee action. Senator Lee, go ahead and discuss it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So again, members of the committee, I just am moving, notwithstanding that we make this change, to allow all members during this committee hearing to proffer these amendments. I think we've had a good opportunity to discuss back and forth with OFB and BBMR. And, traditionally, we've always had a lot of discussion on the front end of the budget with regard to adopting the revenues. And then once we get that kind of out of the way, the rest of the budget bill goes pretty quickly after that. But it's always the adoption of revenues that's the most difficult for obvious reasons. And so I just wanted to be able to proffer some amendments to help us move forward. And I just figured this would be an option that we can consider. In addition, it's my understanding that some members want to try to go back into actual session in the next couple of days, and I'm in support of trying to move forward with that as long as it's safe to do so, Mr. Chair. But again, in the meantime, I just feel like this would give us a more productive discussion as opposed to just kind of going around in circles.
All right, thank you, Senator Lee. Joe, you would do a roll call to find out of the committee members on their position and their vote. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion, sorry.
Okay, stand by. Senator Therese?
Yeah, I'm just tuning in now. I don't see the motion in writing, but I think I heard it all, I'm hoping. But my concern, Mr. Chair, is that obviously it's going to be obvious from this vote, only committee members can vote. It's kind
That's
of
correct.
contrary to when you recessed into committee, it was very specific authority given by the whole body, and one of the parameters they set on that was we would not be voting on amendments or put any other of that type of restrictions on the body. And so I don't like the part where we're going to be moving forward on the budget but excluding some of the members who are not members of the committee.
If you could just read the
no,
amendments
yeah.
and post it on the chat, that might help to answer or clarify some of your questions and concerns.
Okay, take a look at what the motion is.
Again, I'll repeat it for the listening public. I move to allow all members during this committee meeting to proffer amendments to the bill as substituted for the committee's consideration, provided that prior to any amendment being entertained, it must be 1, submitted to the committee electronically, and 2, have a minimum of 6 co-sponsors.
Okay, Senator Munoz?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just wondering, are these two separate motions, or, I mean, so are we entertaining the first part of her motion, which is notwithstanding House rules to conduct a formal markup of this bill as substituted during, I'm not sure if there's two separate, because she did say subsequently the next part will be the part where we have to add six members on there to any amendment. I'm not sure if this is two different ones.
Senator Lee?
It's really up to the chair how he would like to adopt it. If he'd like to bifurcate the amendment, he can, or we can move forward as one full amendment. That's not up to me. It's up to the chair as to how he would like this amendment to be accepted.
Do I have any objection of the members, the committee members? Do you want it separated or do you want it as one? Senator Munoz, do you have any objection to it?
Okay, stand by. I'm just seeing if they have to go together or can we separate them?
Okay, Senator Clint, do you have any comments you want to bring up? None? Okay, Senator Moylan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The electronic versions of our amendments, I think we've all been complying to that. That's standard before we discuss. And then for the 6 co-sponsors, I don't feel that's necessary for an amendment at all. That's not one of our rules for doing it on session, and I don't see why that should be a rule for during this discussion part as well, because we're still going to be able to, when we get back to session floor, and I hopefully by Monday, we do, since the majority of us, or I don't know if anybody has not taken the test, but I think we would have a majority being able to come into session if we can get back into session Monday. And that's where all the decisions will be made. So I disagree with the proposal as
Okay.
stated. I understand the intent. I appreciate it, but I'm not in favor of it. Thank you.
Okay, Senator Luis?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not sure if we need to bifurcate it. The way I'm reading it, I think they need to be together. And yeah, with all due respect, I don't agree with adding the 6 on to the amendments. I do think that, like Senator Moylan said, what we do here now, and then we'll just do the exact same thing once we get into session. And when we are in session, we don't necessarily need to have 6 people on our amendments. So I'm not sure why we're doing that here in this.
Again, Mr. Chair, it's just an opportunity for our discussions to be productive and for us to actually get something done while we're here in committee, instead of just spinning our wheels and going around about this exact same questions over and over. So again, this is just an opportunity for us to really take a look at the work that we're doing while we're in virtual session, to increase our productivity and actually have something to show for all of the work that we've done while outside of traditional in-person session.
All right, thank you. Let's let Joe, where are you at, Joe? Let's get a vote of the committee members, and let's see where we stand, and then we move on.
Thank you, sir. On the motion, we will call a vote. Senator, Chairman San Agustin,
Aye.
Senator San Agustin, aye. Vice Chairman Rigel,
Nay.
thank you. Vice Chair Shelton,
Again.
Vice Chair Shelton, aye. Speaker Munya Barnes,
Again, did you hear that?
thank you. Speaker Munya Barnes, aye. Senator Lee,
Hungen.
Senator Lee, aye. Senator Therese Terlahi,
Nay.
Senator Therese Terlahi, nay. Senator Pito Terlahi,
Again.
Senator Pito Terlahi, aye. Senator Marsh Taitano,
Again.
Senator Marsh Taitano, aye. Senator Castro is
Is
not
he
on
on?
at this time. Senator Castro is not on at this time, sir.
All right.
Senator Jim Moylan,
Nay.
Senator Jim Moylan, nay. And Senator Luis Muña,
Nay.
Senator Luis Muña, nay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
What do we have out of the 11
There
of
have
us?
been, Mr. Chair, there have been 6 ayes and 4 nays and 1 absent.
So the ayes have it.
Correct.
All right. All right. Thank you. And that's how we're going to move on the committee. All right. Senator Moylan, you have a comment you want to make? The motion is ready moved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd also like to make a motion. Is that appropriate?
You want to make a motion?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
I'd like to motion that we, as the committee, we dismiss this virtual forum and we come back into session on Monday at the Congress building, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a second on that?
I second.
All right. Let's discuss that, please. Open for discussion. We have Senator Lee. If you can discuss that, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have no problem with, working with our executive director and in preparation for a Monday session. I do have some concerns that, as disclosed to the media earlier today, one of our members is positive for COVID. And so we're gonna have a challenge with this person participating in our session. And I think it's really unfortunate that because of this situation, this individual won't be able to participate. So I just, in the meantime, we still have Thursday and Friday that we could be very productive, and just keeping in mind that we're all employed by the people of Guam. These are taxpayer dollars that are going to fund our operations and our activities. And I think that it's very important that we continue to do our jobs in the most productive way possible, especially with this amendment passing. We can actually get some amendments passed, discussed and passed, get some movement on this bill, because like you've mentioned, Mr. Chair, we have a deadline looming at the end of the month. And I think that we just all need to be cognizant of the people who have sent us here and do the job that they've asked us to do. Suzus Masi.
All right. We have Senator Amanda.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'd like to also echo the same sentiments as Senator Lee. I think we just passed that amendment or that motion a couple of minutes ago that will allow us to move forward in the committee. So if we can continue doing that. I'm also concerned that we haven't received clearance yet for every member in the body, all of the test results for our staff and for the members, and the clearance from public health for us to return to the building. So I'd like to first have that reassurance before we go back into session. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. I'm looking if there was anybody else. I think Senator Senator Mary Camacho Torres, you had a question, ma'am? Disregard? Okay, disregard. All right. So that being said, now we're already on page. Go for it. Senator Moylan, go for it.
Sorry, I was just, I do have a comment, but I also want to acknowledge Senator Tello, if you want to do that.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, go ahead. Senator Tello.
Mr. Chair and members of this committee, it was agreed upon at the very beginning that we would have this virtual meeting to discuss the bills and to incorporate all members of the legislature. And right now, you're stopping any of us who are not members of this committee to not participate. This is an injustice to all of us. We can participate. We didn't even have a chance to vote on this amendment or this motion that was made. You didn't even give us the opportunity to do so. Are you guys muffling us, those who are not involved in this committee? It's very disingenuous. So the people of Guam need to know, and continue to smile, Regine Bisco-Lee. It's not funny. It's not funny when you don't allow all members of this legislature to participate in the making of the, I am talking. It is unfair to not allow any of us to participate that is not part of the membership. If we were in the legislature, we would not have to be doing this, Mr. Chairman. We would all be able to participate.
Okay.
But now, only those who are in this committee, which is made up of 11 individuals, and one that was not here, can only participate in the budget bill. That's very disingenuous, very unfair to all of us who are not doing this. And I don't, this, I'm
okay.
Fine, go
Okay,
ahead, Regine, butt in.
All right. Thank you, Senator Tello. I understand your okay, Senator Lee, you wanted to comment?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to remind all the members to please read the amendment. It was placed in the chat for everybody to read, and I read it aloud 2 times. So again,
yes, and point of information, the amendment reads, I've moved to allow all members.
Joe, mute people.
We are not members, is my.
Pause. Folks, they read the motion. All right. Let's move on. Okay. Joe, do we have DOE available now? So we can move on to what we're going to discuss. Or as a matter of fact, let's go back first to Senator Moylan's motion to end it. Do we have a green light, Senator Lee, from your Joe, your head executive director? Because I just
sorry,
talked to him.
Mr.
He said
Chair. In the same way that Senator Titagwe was very concerned about not having everybody participate, I again just would like to register my concerns about moving forward with the in-person session, given that one, potentially more of our members we're still pending test results from, might not be able to participate in session in person. And so that's, my consideration. I want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to participate. Absolutely. And so I just wanted to reiterate that, Mr. Chair.
Just a point of information, Mr. Chair, when it says, I move that allow all members, are you talking about only the committee members, or are you talking every senator that's in here?
Mr. Chair, it's my understanding that the motion was made, it was seconded, there was an opportunity for discussion. It's unfortunate that this question wasn't raised during that time. But you know what?
We were not allowed to participate. We're not members.
Committee, Mr. Chair. So however you want to move forward.
Once again, Mr. Chair, we were not allowed to participate in the discussion. You said that this discussion was only meant for members of your committee. So that blocked out the remaining of the senators that are not members? This is a budget bill, and we're discussing it. We can't make any decisions on this budget bill without being in session to solidify it. But I don't understand. You have to have a minimum of 6 co-sponsors for your amendments. It's ridiculous.
Yes,
this is very unfair, and I hope the media.
Thank you, Senator Tello. Thank you for your comments. Moving along, do we have DOE yet, Joe? Do we have DOE?
let's see. I do have,
We're on chapter 2. Where are we at with DOE? It's 127. You said you bring them on.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to
I'm
make
waiting
a
for them.
Senator
Sir, before you continue with DOE, we still have to dispose of Senator Moylan's motion. Sorry.
Yes. All right. I apologize. Senator Moylan, we're back to your motion, and that was second by Senator Muña.
I think Senator Sabina and I would like to discuss. I saw her hand up before mine, but I'd also like to discuss.
And that's to discuss the motion. Go ahead then, Senator Sabina.
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, I would like to make the motion to reconsider the amendment since I was not present. And I think, as one of the people that the people elected to represent, as one of the senators that the people elected, I feel that, if we're trying to limit the discussion to only a group of members, that I think that's, it's undemocratic. And considering that when we came out of committee of the whole to go back into committee, there was the understanding that no amendments were going to be passed, and that it was basically going to be a discussion, and it wasn't going to be, we weren't going to vote on amendments. So I think by just allowing a certain proportion of people, I mean, I actually wasn't sent the amendment myself, so I'm kind of coming at this blindly. And I think that, if we're trying to squelch any kind of discussion, it doesn't go well for the people of Guam. We're here to represent the people. And if you're only going to allow certain members to vote on it, we're no longer in a democratic society. And I think this is, I would like to make the motion to reconsider the amendment, especially since I was not able to read it. It was not sent to me, by the way.
It's on the chat. It's on the chat. Everybody that showed up on time looked at it on the chat. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Senator Sabina.
These
tactics.
If you're not a member, you don't even get to vote. We're not part of your committee. We don't even get to vote. So even on the reconsideration, we're not allowed to vote.
Okay. Moving along, Senator Therese, you wanted to comment? Senator Sabina made her comment. I understand where she's coming from. Moving on, Senator Therese, what do you have?
Sure, yes. So on the motion, I too am very concerned that this motion was made and it very much changes what was said in session and that all the members voted on in session. And it's making these changes by committee vote, and which is a very limited number of votes. And and of course, without much notice, I would prefer that it be reconsidered or just withdrawn, and that at the very minimum that all senators be brought along, that they be notified of what the big change is going to be made in this committee. For example, knowing that no amendments were going to be made in committee, if that changed and they didn't know about it, that might explain some of them aren't even present right here, right now, because that was not the rules of the game when we came in. And I just think to avoid this type of controversy, while we need to focus, and I take great exception to this rhetoric that we have been unproductive. Budget amounts are very unclear between OFB and BBMR. And if we're not going to get to the bottom of why there's this huge distinction between revenue projections or what's a necessary expenditure, then I don't know what else we're supposed to be doing in here. For me, that's what we're doing. And it's very productive because we've exposed gaps. We've exposed what's not being accounted for in this budget. We've exposed what their rationale is. And that's where we have to take it and decide whether that's good enough for the public, for the people of Guam, or it's not. And so I don't think we've been unproductive. I think the discussions are good and they should continue. And we can discuss amendments. There's no problem with discussing amendments, but I don't think that amendment that changes how we proceed here should be done without the rest of the senators present, with some kind of notice and able to discuss that motion as well, or to vote on it.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Senator. Speaker Munoz, you have something you want to say, ma'am?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And in light of the information that's been provided, I think it's important that the committee take the opportunity to look at the first amendment that allowed every member to come in to speak on the committee and go from there, because we need to check with legal if the motion was made was binding or not. So just in fair perspective and parity, that we ask the interpretation based on the morning motion that was made this morning.
All right. Okay, thank you. We have GDOE here. We're gonna move to chapter 2. We'll hold off on the motion. We have to just bring some clarity here, but let's move along. We're on chapter 2, page 10. We have DOE. Sarnarm, where are you at? Are you here? Oh, there you are, Tom. You swear in. We'd like to recognize. Let's see. We have Miss Christine. I'm trying to find you. Is Christine there? Where's Christine Garcia? Oh, there. Christine Garcia is there. We have Zenny from DOE, the deputy superintendent. We have the superintendent of DOE. Tom, if you can go ahead and turn arms, if you can swear the 3 in, please.
Okay, all 3, can you please raise your hand? The 3 that I need to swear in, can you please raise your hand, your right hand? Okay. Under penalty of perjury, do you affirm that any and all information that you provide today, whether it be verbally, electronically, and in writing, be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
I still affirm.
Okay, Mr.
right.
Chair, they're all under
All
oath.
right, thank you. We'll move to chapter 2, page 10. We're going to be discussing DOE. I'm seeing somebody.
Lord have mercy.
That's-
We got
all right,
drama.
I'm telling you. Who is that? Okay, we're good. Steve, stand by. Therese, your mic is on.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I just called the oversight chair. She thought this meeting began at 2 p.m. So she's on her way, and I feel very uncomfortable to begin the discussions about DOE without the oversight chair being present, Mr. Chair.
No, and I don't blame you. I agree with you. It was at 1 o'clock. But if you want, we can recess for the next 25 minutes waiting for her to show up. If there's no objection, we'll go ahead and recess and folks continue looking at your documents. And I'll be stepping out also, and my Vice Chair, Senator Clint, will take charge when we come back at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Sir, be advised, the Vice Speaker is now on.
Okay, great. Oh, there.
Where's
She
she at?
is connecting at this time.
Oh, okay, she's connecting, great. And we have Steve. We'll go over or just stand by for any questions. And Lester, is Lester on? I'm looking for his phone number here.
Can you print that?
Steve, your mic is on. There you go. See, where's Lester? Is Lester on, Joe?
Yes, sir, I'm working on unmuting him at this time.
Okay, unmute him so that when we start the discussion, we will start with Lester. You're there? Great. Okay, we're just waiting for the Vice Speaker to come on board. Senator Munoz, Speaker Munoz, Tina Munoz Barnes, you have a question, ma'am? Go ahead.
Yes, I do, sir. And it's for the executive director in reference to the federal grants and the budget that is being received by DOE. If if the budget does not fulfill the requirements for the federal grants, how will that impact the grants moving forward?
Ma'am, why don't we wait until we open up DOE and then we can go from there? Are you referring to that
Okay.
letter that the superintendent submitted to the body?
Yes, sir.
Okay, as we move along, when we start the chapter, then we can go through that.
Also, Mr. Chair, on the clarification, if you're, based on the motion that was made this morning, I think it's real important that we get the clerk or staff to revisit the motion that was made for,
Right, okay, we'll get legal folks to look at that, but let's get ready for, is the vice speaker, the oversight chair on yet? Joe?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, if you could just a point of order, was Senator Moylan's motion considered or withdrawn?
it was not.
Oh, that wasn't withdrawn. I apologize. I forgot all about Senator Moylan. Senator Moylan, you made a motion that was seconded by Senator Munya. Do we have any objection to ending this virtual and preparing to go on session on Monday? Do we have any objection?
No.
Mr.
Do you have an
Chair,
objection? Yes,
Mr. Chair.
Senator Amanda.
well, I have no objection to the actual amendment about going into session on Monday, but I would like to amend the amendment maybe to be that we reconvene in session on Monday pending the clearance from public health.
I second that amendment to the amendment.
Okay, let's open up for discussion. Does anybody want to discuss that amendment?
Mr. Chair, are we
I don't
allowed
think
to
it's an
speak?
emotion.
Since
Yes.
we're not members, are we allowed to speak on this?
Yes, you're allowed. I'm opening this. I've opened everything up. And we
Okay,
did
so
that in the
that
beginning,
means
but
we could
Senator
have
Tello,
voted. Yeah, and so that means we could have voted on that motion by Senator Regine earlier. We could have voted on that. But now you're allowing us to vote on this motion?
Senator Tello, do you
I
want to
just-
make comment to this motion to
I
end the
want
virtual
an
and go back to
answer.
session?
I want an answer.
I'm asking you a
able to-
specific question, Senator Tello. You were invited and you were endorsed by everybody to participate in this virtual. Do you want to make a comment in reference to going back to session on Monday? There's an
We can
amendment
make
to
a
that
comment.
question that was
Okay.
posed.
Okay, and my question is, Mr. Chair, are we able to vote on that amendment?
Hello?
I'm asking you, do you want to speak in reference to this motion?
Yes.
I'm
I would
asking
like to
everybody
speak
here.
on this motion, but I'm asking you, are we able to vote on it?
Yes, I'm going to allow you to be able to vote. Do you
Okay,
want to
so
go back to
non-members-
session?
So non-members now can vote on this motion by Senator Jim Moylan, is what you're saying, Mr. Chair?
That's correct, because it's about ending the virtual and going back into session. The previous amendment was nothing to do with going back to session. It's about committee action. Now, do you want to speak in reference to this, ma'am?
This
Yes
is a
or no?
committee action. This is, okay.
Do
Mr.
you want to
Chair,
speak on this one,
committee action.
Senator Tello?
No, I just wanted to verify that it's okay to vote for
Okay.
this motion, but it's not okay to vote for the first motion.
Okay,
That's-
I guess you're not commenting. Does anybody else want to make a comment in reference to any comment in reference to the amendment that Senator Amanda has proffered to Senator Moylan's amendment? I mean, motion. Senator Therese.
Yes, I know that we would be reconvening in the committee of the whole. And while we
That's
were
correct.
in the committee of the whole last time, we allowed virtual participation by some of the panel members. I guess I would like to allow that virtual participation during committee of the whole be allowed by members of the legislature if they are unable to attend, if of course that is cleared by legal. I wish legal was here so we could hear from them directly. Mr. Chair, we're going to act on motions like this. And
I support that, Senator Therese. I support that anybody that's not available that can commit still be able to participate virtually.
Mr. Chair,
Senator,
can we vote on the amendment to the amendment if there's no other discussion? Because
no, there's still discussion, Madam Speaker. Senator Lee,
Okay,
you raise your hand?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And you know, I agree with some of what Senator Therese Terlahi has just brought up, but we need to tread very carefully. There have been raised in previous discussions these Organic Act issues with regard to us participating virtually. We can have virtual discussions. We can invite people in the committee of the whole. So I agree with Senator Terlahi that we need to have our legal bureau vet whether or not participation to include voting virtually for some of our members would be allowed, because I think that's been our challenge. And again, we're going in circles, and this is the same kind of question that we've been having since the beginning of the pandemic. Thank you.
All right. I noticed that Senator Torres, you made a comment there. I wanted to clarify exactly what you meant by that. Senator Torres, there are no objection to this motion, or is that the motion you're referring to, is to reset, end the virtual and go right into session for Monday?
Yeah, I was just clarifying. I didn't hear an objection, so I was wondering why we're calling for the vote, but maybe I misheard. I didn't hear
Yes,
an objection, so I was just...
No, there was no objection. It was just a motion by, I think it was Senator Amanda Shelton as to, or Senator Tina, that we amend it, provided that that it's clear to be able to go in.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay. We have Senator Will Castro. Yes, we want you to participate.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to be clear, I want to state my position. Even the rights of the minority should be protected. I want to make it very clear that if you look at the circumstances surrounding my COVID positive situation, this is not to any fault of my own. So I'm going to plead to this body. I don't mind that you proceed in committee of the whole. I'm going to plead that you give me the privilege, the extended privilege to participate. As a matter of fact, I'm going to commit to testing between the 5 and 7 day window. But that's a right that's guaranteed to me as a member of this equal participating member of this body. So either way you look at it, I'm going to object to that pending the results of the legal counsel. Other than that, Mr. Chairman, I thank you for advocating for my participation.
All right, thank you. Senator Muñoz, you have something, Speaker Muñoz, Tina Muñoz Barnes, Speaker, do you have something you wanted to say?
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I may, just based on the amendment made by Legislative Secretary, that motion's on the floor. If we ask everybody to vote on that, and then on the main motion by Senator Jim Moylan as a matter of procedure, if the discussion is over, then we call for the roll call, because we are in virtual hearing that a roll call must be made for every motion here. So even for this, even there cannot be a no objection. It has to be voted on.
All right.
I would like the motion to, Mr. Chair, I'd like the motion to reflect, however, to allow members to participate virtually. If that's, yeah, in committee of the whole.
Let's start with the first motion. Stand by, Speaker.
I apologize, Mr. Chair. I apologize. If we could just, if I could ask for a brief recess to this discussion. It's my understanding that legal counsel is attempting to get in touch with you to further clarify. So.
All right, let's take a quick recess. Thank you.